Hi, Madeleine Lowry here, Nutritional Therapy Practitioner. In this video, I want to talk about allergy and sensitivity elimination techniques. So I found that as people were coming in to see me for allergy and sensitivity evaluations, there are more and more people with long lists, 12 to 15 different foods or spices that they appeared to be sensitive to. And I would send them home to eliminate those foods and see if their health symptoms would subside. But their dismay really, in many cases, their dismay in having to eliminate a bunch of foods, often at inconvenient times like the holidays or before a major event, sent me searching for allergy elimination techniques. And I studied a few. So the first one that I came upon was called NAET, N-A-E-T. That stands for Nambudrapad's Allergy Elimination Technique. And that is an acupuncture. How do I want to describe this? It's an acupuncture technique that utilizes exposure to the food that you're sensitive to kind of reset the meridians in the body. Basically to it's almost like if you think about a fuse getting flipped into the on position, to take an ordinary food that you hadn't been reacting to, and now it becomes a food that you react to every time you encounter it, and flipping that fuse in the other direction. Think of it that way. I studied this technique, I experienced it myself, and I found it, I didn't really feel like this was the right path after a while. There are a number of what they call, there's a basic set of allergy elimination office visits you have to go through before you can start working on the things that that are particular to you. And so it's kind of a long procedure. It utilizes acupuncture, which not everyone is crazy about. And so I moved on from there to look at some variants of that, which are more acupressure focused. So acupressure utilizing different points that correspond to, again, Chinese energy meridians on the body. And from there, I became aware of something called neural retraining. And while the NAET treatments and then the variants on NAET are techniques that you use to address one sensitivity at a time, right? Neural retraining is something that appeared to address all allergies and sensitivities at the same time. So what we're doing there is we're actually working with the brain to reset the limbic system. The limbic system is like the danger sensing system of the body. And we're working with the brain to reset that limbic system to tolerate a lot of the foods, chemicals, medications, environmental irritants that it has become intolerant to. So we're kind of the idea is you've kind of, for some of us, the susceptible individuals, you've kind of lost tolerance to a number of items that you eat or drink or are exposed to in the environment. And this method retrains the brain to re-establish tolerance to those substances. And it seems to work on a kind of a global fashion so that you pick something to train with, one or a few things to train with, and food is very handy because we can sort of decide how and when we want to be exposed to that in most cases. And when you use something as a training tool, because the incremental exposures are part of the practice, then you can reestablish tolerance to not only that food or chemical or environmental irritants, but it seems to work across all those categories. So I found this quite compelling after having done the training myself and really, I wasn't even interested in the training to resolve my own allergies and sensitivities. I thought this would be great for my clients, but it was phenomenal in resetting my sensitivities and allergies to the point where I could now eat everything that I hadn't been able to for years. And so that was quite eye-opening. I'm also hoping that when seasonal allergy season comes around, that I'll be much better in that respect as well. But this was something I decided that many of my clients would benefit from. And so I've started teaching workshops through the last fall and winter. And I continue to teach this as a one-on-one, in one-on-one office visits. It takes about 90 minutes, maybe a little bit more, for me to teach someone the neural retraining techniques. And so what I've done is I kind of combined information about a number of different techniques, incorporating work from several pioneers in this area of, let's see, the new field is called psychoneuroimmunology, or PIN. PNI or PIN. So some people call it neurology. And so what it involves is learning a set of mental practices or exercises, you could think of them as. And so what I'm doing in the office visit or at the workshop is I'm kind of going over the science of why this works. What's the brain's role in allergies and sensitivities? Why does retraining the brain help you to recover from allergies and sensitivities? And then teaching the exercises and techniques that you will practice at home for about an hour a day. It does take about 3 to 6 months of practice, because it just takes that long to make the changes permanent, though you'll start to see results often within days to weeks. The people that that have experienced the workshop and have put the training into place have seen very, very good results, and often they are quite surprised by how quickly they can start to resolve these allergies and sensitivities, even if they've been quite long-standing. So if allergies and sensitivities are a factor for you, I really encourage you to look into neural retraining as a modality. And I do teach this this method over Zoom, so distance is not a problem if you don't live in the Twin Cities. But the last thing I'll say is that though it may seem remarkable in and of itself to be able to resolve your allergies and sensitivities, the real reason for using this technique is to recover your baseline health. So what I have learned by doing this is that baseline health is affected by having multiple allergies and sensitivities, and I will talk more about this in my next video.